working on that.
I have an opportunity with one of my, at any cost they should complete the trialed given in the Excel. Okay. So uh, so may I know what would be your objective when you do the trialed? I will tell you how normally the intention of candidate working on any trialed. Okay. I'm not uh, generalizing. I'm just talking about some sort of mentality. What usually will have when you work on this type of trailet. So the trailet is basically driving towards gaining the badges, completing the now gaining the number of badges and points, isn't it? In that sense, we'll always more curious to complete the trailhead and gain the badges. Correct, no? So your intention would be, uh, rush up and okay, you just see that badge completion badge, woohoo message, saying like you got the badge. Then you just move forward with the other module. But what is the takeaway from? What are the takeaway from the current batch? What you've done? What really you learned from the current batch are more important than completing that particular batch. You got my point, both of you?
Yes,
Get what I'm
yes.
trying to say? So what is
Yeah.
more important is, what are the takeaway from this? What are the lessons that you have learned from the batch where you spend your time, right, and your effort? But what normally, our intention, let's complete it. Okay, this badge is completed. I got this. I added one more badge here. So that shouldn't be the case. If you follow that practice, go through line by line, because there won't be anyone in the industry, either a trainer or even work environment, will not give you much more than what trailer is giving to you. Okay. uh, of course work environment will give a different sort of experience, but still the trailer is giving you everything, right? With more relevant scenarios, and they give all sort of uh, documentation, clearly, explaining about the particular feature, how it can be implemented, and you get to know a lot of things in the trailer. So do it with more religiously. Okay, don't do it with more religiously. Follow every things given. Try to uh, go through it multiple times. If you are not getting it in one shot, give a more iteration and try to get more out of it. That's the point I'm giving. I'm not giving you just to gain the badge and at the top to see every time, oh, I got this many badges, this many points. That is not the intention. Okay. So if you follow this, if you make this as a practice, really you will see a lot of changes in your learnings, and you will see a lot of improvement in your approach. Okay. So that is what I'm trying to say. Everywhere, everything is, at the end of the batches, at modules, they summarize the thing, isn't it? They summarize it and they give challenges, and sometimes they give a hint in the boxes. And every coding you take, they a very standard form of error handling. And in the HTML, especially here, no, in HTML, they not in this example, but there are a lot of examples. They have used a lot of SLDS, uh, proper SLDS, right? By experience, only experienced person only can implement that type of SLDS. The product team, development team has given you, the the pre-built the UI with with the right SLDS classes that you can experience, that you can see in the trailer only, right? So don't miss it. Okay, don't try to complete it, rush up and complete. Okay, the general question to you, right? How do you communicate? What are the different ways you can establish communication between the components? What are the different uh, ways you can communicate in LWC? We have a parent to child communication, child to parent communication. It's all happening within the same DOM structure, which means that in one HTML page, isn't it? Whether you have a nested components, but it's all within the same DOM, right? But how do you communicate across the DOM? How do you communicate across the DOM? That is what we are going to discuss now. So Lightning Message Service, it's a architecture, it's a method to communicate across the DOM within a Lightning page. So if you take a Lightning page, say for example, I'm into an opportunity page. Okay, consider an example. I have a top component, highlight component. I have a detail component, data table component. I have detail component. I have chatter. So suppose this whole component is, it's a different component. For example, maybe LWC. This may be from Aura. This may be from Visualforce page. So how can you communicate between these components? These components are not composed together, which means they are not in the hierarchy. They are not in any parent-child relationship. They are separate components. In that sense, how will you communicate? How will you communicate? You will use Lightning Message Service. Okay, and you can communicate between Visualforce pages and LWC, and Aura. We can communicate between different component types also. Okay, so there are it follows a model of publish subscribe model, pub sub model. What is publish subscribe model? You take an example of the YouTube, for example. You subscribe the channel, right? So what is the purpose? What is the need of subscribing? You'd like to get notified when any any new updates, new videos are uploaded into that particular channel. You'll get update. So who will get update? The users who subscribe for that channel, isn't it? So here it's similar to that. The component which subscribe for that particular channel. So we are going to create a channel. Okay. So whatever the component subscribe to the channel can receive the communication, can interact from the component who is going to publish it. So we are going to create a file. In the Aura, how do you establish component type event? How will you establish communication using component type event? If you remember, we'll create a event file. Am I right? We'll create an event file. And what next we'll do? Anybody? If you are familiar with Aura, you create an event file. What next we'll do in component type? you're not sure, then you say, I'm not very sure. You're not sure in Aura, then if anything you know about it, just try to recall.
No, Ranjit, no from my end.
No, Rajsekhar, you don't know? Rajesh sir? Okay, fine. So you create an event file. Then the component will register for that event. So here it's going to be subscribe, right? Or publish, we can say. Register and fire equivalent to publish. And other component can handle the event. Here it's going to be subscribe. So we are going to see how to communicate between two different components. So we'll take we are into LWC session. So we'll take two different LWC components in the page. One will be here, one will be in the same page, but somewhere they are not nested, they are not composed. Okay, but how do you establish communication? Okay, we'll see the procedure. First, you create a message channel. That's the first step. You have to define a channel metadata in your org. Okay, so where do you create this channel? It's a kind of file. It's a kind of metadata file you're going to create called lightning message channel. Okay, so where do you create? See the path here, force-app main/default. We know, right, that that's a path we have already we come across, right? So here force main default, but they're given more after, right? The other folder structure. See here, which means what? This folder structure is not available right now. We have got only till default. Then what we have to do in order to implement a lightning message channel, you are going to create this folder structure below default first. That's the first step before you implement it. Okay, as part of implementation. So you right click it, new folder. We got the folder now, right? So below default, I got the folder now. You get it? Then below which we are going to create a file. We are going to create a file. The file follows this format. The lightning message channel file follows the format. Name of the file, and this is the extension of the file. You get my point, all of you? Name of the file and the extension of the file. So let me create a file name, file below it. Right click, new file. So I give the file as a test underscore LMS. You got my point? I create a file name as test underscore LMS. Any name is acceptable. I give the name like this. Enter. I'm sorry. We need to give the extension of the file, right? What is the extension? I copied, no? Dot message channel hyphen meta dot xml. Able to see what I'm doing now? You get what I've done so far? What I've done so far? I got the file. I created the file. Okay. What can be the content of the file? What can be the content of the file? So I open it. See, they given some. See, we are going to refer it in your program with double underscore C. But the file name is actually record selected. The file name is actually test_lms, but when you refer it, we are going to suffix that with double_c. Okay, because it's a custom instance, we are going to refer like that. So let's see the content of the LMS channel. Are you able to follow? So coming down, this will take you to the different PDF document. Yeah. Okay. So lightning message channel, and down here we have a simple content. So this is basically an example of LMS channel where you don't pass data between the components. You can communicate between the components, but you don't pass data. If you pass data, see, without just establishing communication, not passing any data, then these are the tags, is important. Is exposed true, description. These are the important tags. If you are going to communicate any data, for example, I'm going to pass record ID from one component to another component, then we are going to have lightning message field. We're going to have a tag called lightning message field. So this is not available in this file, right? This is an example, a simple example. We don't pass data using this channel, but the channel we need to use to pass data, then we use lightning message field. So this open and close tag, lightning message field, close by lightning message field. If you like to pass additional data, you have to repeat it. You are passing some data here. See, this is the name of the payload. It's called payload. Payload, the data that you are sharing, that you are passing from one component to another component. Payload, right? So it can be any name, but they name it as record ID, they name it as record data. So through this parameter, you can pass any type of data. There is no the type, basically the data type. Any type of data you can pass. Is it clear? Is it clear to all of you? Shall I proceed? So I copy this.
Rajesh, can you repeat please one more time? Example.
You establish just a communication. We are not passing data. If some component is publish, you subscribe, publish, you can get notified. That will see an example. So we are not passing any data. Component type event in ARA, you can establish communication without passing any data. If you pass data, you'll have attribute. Am I right? In ARA, we have attribute to pass data. Okay, so this channel says without no data we are passing, because we don't have any payload here. This file, showing you can pass two different data. The field name basically used to specify the parameter that can be used to pass data. The component which is going to publish can pass some data. The component is going to subscribe can receive the data from this parameter. But what about here? The component will get notified, but we can't share any data because we don't have any payload here. You get my point? Difference between the two files. What I did now, I just copied and kept only one payload. That's all. Only one parameter I'm declaring here. That's all. Okay, I deploy this. We are good now. We have created the file. Okay, the channel is created. So what next? We are going to the component. One component is going to publish it, and the other component can subscribe. The component which is subscribing can receive the communication from the component where the LMS is published. Okay, right. The file is created using which any component can publish, any component can subscribe. Right now, we'll see how to publish. Okay, I go to the publish on message channel, right? So the first thing, if you see here, to publish a message, to publish messages on a message channel for Lightning Web Component, we must include at Salesforce/message channel. That service you have to include. That service you have to include in your JS JavaScript file. Okay, so because this service is providing an inbuilt functions to establish the communication. Okay, so you have to, right? For example, if you are using the Apex, we are referring at Salesforce/Apex. So similarly, right, you have to import this in your file, JS file. So I'm talking about in JS file. So what is these two modules? These are the two modules you are going to what type of service you are going to use from this module? Publish service, message context. These are the two features you are going to use from this service. Okay. What next? The other important statement you are going to import is what is this? You need to refer. You need to take the reference of the file, right? What was the file name we given? What is the file name we given? Test underscore underscore. Is it clear? So far it's clear. And this is the name that you give, any name you give. Okay. Suppose I give a sample message. I imported this message channel in this name. I just imported the message service, for this modules, publish and message context. I'm importing because I'm going to use this within your JS now. Okay. Now, what next? In your class, suppose the class name is something. This is how our component looks like, right? Our class looks like, no? This is my class. This is the first step, right? Include these two files. What next is going to be here? You need to wire this message context. Okay. Wire this by referring this in the parameter with a property. With a property. By standard naming convention suggests you go with the same property name, but I don't think so. This is mandatory. This is mandatory. This is needs to be matching. You need to refer this. You got my point. But the property can be any. But normally, in a book example, the best practice naming convention, what they follow, you follow the similar naming, same name, message context. But this is the name you are referring to. Okay. Is it clear? Shall I proceed further? So far, it's clear. What we did? We created the file. What are the folder structure? Of course, the message channel is a folder you have to create it. Okay. Then with the content, below file as a payload. Okay, as a payload I got. And the next step is we are going to You're going to publish, you're going to import this, and you're going to import the file. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah. What next we are going to do? We are going to publish it. We are going to publish it. Okay. Because only when we publish the message, the component, the other component subscribed can receive the communication. So I'm just talking about how to publish it. Okay. Subscription part, I will explain it later. Then I will explain again from top to end how it works. Okay. Right now, how to publish it? Of course, from HTML file, we are going to initiate some event. Am I right? On click of the button, we are going to publish it. We are going to call a publish service. For example, in my HTML, I have a control to call am I audible?
Yes, Adit, you are.
Now, yeah. Okay. So here, on click of the button, I'm going to publish. Okay. So how to publish syntax? We have a method that accepts 3 parameters. Method has 3 parameters. One is first parameter. You are passing this property that are wired with the message service. The property that are wired with the message service, right? Like this. Anything I'm missing here when you refer the property? Anything I'm missing here when you refer the JS property? I will refer it. If not, message context. Okay. The next argument we are going to pass a reference to the Lightning message channel. Here, you guys clear? The third one, we are going to pass a parameter. It's a default one, you know. If you don't pass parameter, you can ignore it. It is not necessary. You have a Lightning message field. You have to mandatorily pass a parameter. Okay. If you don't pass any parameter, you can ignore it. If you are going to pass, then how will you pass the parameter? Anybody? The JSON format. Tell me the JSON format of passing the parameter.
The JSON.string info.
No. I'm asking about how do you normally pass? What format you will pass? The JSON format. Passing any parameter to a call up a close braces, right? Then you have two name value pair. What I'm asking, okay? Name value pair. Yeah. The left, okay, the left side of, I mean the name. What was the name of the parameter? And what you're going to pass? You can pass anything, right? Anything you want. So this is the simplest example of, publish. So the step 2, this channel, right? You publish it, publish on a channel. The message channel, publish on a channel. Okay, now what next actually? After all, how the other component? So this is a one, this is a this is one component, right? Publish .html. This is a component name, and so the next is going to be how the component can subscribe. So to subscribe, what are the steps involved? To subscribe, what are the steps involved? To subscribe. Right. Now the subscription part. Listen. Suppose my file name is subscribe component.html. This is a file name, and then my JS name will be JS, correct? It's my JS. So what are the steps involved here? We need to import. Here we are going to import. We just talk about subscribe and unsubscribe is you can do it later. That's additionally optional. So instead of publish service, which service you are going to use now? Subscribe. This remains same. This remains same, and this remains same. Only change, between publish on a message channel, subscribe on a message channel. You're going to use subscribe service. Here we are using publish service. Rest of things are same, and even this remains same. You get my point? Is it clear? Is it clear so far? Okay. So what next? Okay. So this component is already been loaded, right, in the page. Suppose this component is also a part of the page. We're talking about the communication between the components, right? Suppose in a Lightning page, I have a subscribe component, I have a publish component. For example, okay, I have a subscribe component, say comp.html. I have a publish comp.html. So here I have a button. So I just click on and publish it. How this component receive the communication? This component should have subscribed for this channel, isn't it? Should have subscribed for this channel. The channel file I already created, right? So this component is already refer this file. Refer this file. This component is also refer this file, message channel file. Correct? So this component publish it. This component must have subscribed for it, right? How this have subscribed? There is a important life cycle hook, which means when the component is loaded, there are certain methods being invoked automatically in the life cycle. Life cycle means what? Normally, when a component is loaded, there are different phases when the component is loaded are available, established. Okay, one is a init phase, which means the component is loaded, then all the it's called initialization of the initialization phase, which means the component is loaded into the DOM, which before even the component is a part of your HTML structure, before even the component a part of HTML structure, that phase is called initialize phase. And once the component is rendered, then we call render phase. You get my point, right? So there are different phases. This is called life cycle root that we'll discuss in detail. I'll give some idea about that if time permits. I think not today, tomorrow. So there is one important phase of the life cycle is called connected callback. What is that? Connected callback. You heard about constructor method in your Apex. What will happen? Suppose in a class I have a method one, I have method two, and I have a constructor. I have a constructor of the class. Suppose my class name is employee. When a class is initialized, which among these will run first? Which among these will run first? Question to you. When employee class is running, all these three, the constructor is also part of the class. The method 1, 2 is also a part of the class. So which method will, among these three methods, which will run first? When the class is initialized, when the class is instantiated, which method will run first?
Method 1, right?
I don't think so. How will you initialize create an instance of a class, guys? Rajeshwar, you understand what I'm talking about? Maybe others are very new to coding. May not very familiar, but what about you? So when you create an instance of a class, the constructor will get run first, right? So that is nothing but the life cycle. What's happening? What are the methods invoked automatically during the life cycle of the component, which means the initialization, when the component is rendered, what's all happening. So here in LWC, okay, we have one of the phase called connected callback. So this is more like your constructor, for example, more like your constructor, not exactly, but more like your constructor. What will happen if you refer that method? Anything you keep inside, what will happen? It is basically a rendered part. Once a component is initialized, the first ever method is going to execute is connected callback. So what you're going to keep inside, you're going to keep the subscription syntax, the subscription method. Okay, we are going to call the subscription method here because it means the component is automatically subscribed for the channel. So it will able to, now it is ready to receive the communication. Okay, so what are we going to put now? Connected callback. We're going to have the subscribe syntax here. So what is the subscription syntax here? Listen. Again, the subscription syntax remains same. I'm not talking about anything, not adding other stuff here, which are very optional. Again, this is going to have a three parameter. One is message context. Next is imported reference. Okay. The third one is going to be what you are going to perform when you receive the because the component is published, right? on subscription, what you're going to execute, what you're going to perform, what action you're going to define here. It's a callback, right? It's kind of callback. So I'm going to define that logic here. We can use a, arrow function property. So we have a parameter. So here where you are going to receive the communication with. So where the logic is going to be, you can have the logic here. Get my point? You can have the logic here. Any logic you can have here. Okay. So what we are going to do here, I'm going to perform the logic in a different method. So forget about this. I'm going to have the logic as a separate method here. So this is what we are going to perform. If you receive any communication, I'm going to display some console log here, received or something. Okay. So this method is going to have some argument. I'm going to call this method. On subscription, I'm going to call this method. Result handle message. Get my point what I'm doing now? You have to prefix this with this keyword because you're referring any other method call within JS, like you refer the property with this, you have to refer the method with also this. So you know what I'm doing now, right? So this is a callback function, right? What you're going to perform on subscription, right? The component is published as soon as the user click on a publish button. We are publishing your pass the data test. Automatically, the subscription method will be called. Why it is invoked? Because when the component is a part of the page, the connected callback had already been initiated, invoked, which means the channel is already, the component is subscribed with this channel. It's already been subscribed because connected callback would have already invoked as part of the lifecycle hook, isn't it? So then what happens whenever this method is something is published, we'll receive this communication into this parameter, and then we are going to perform some logic. So that logic you are free to write, define as a separate method, so that you can call this method. You can also have this simple logic here also, but I'm just giving you the standard format of subscribing the component and handle the logic. So normally in the book example, they kept this in a separate method.
Yeah, hi Rajit. What is the result here? That is a standard one. We can mention any name.
Yeah, any name you can give. So this is a parameter you're receiving, right? Any callback, what happens actually? You receive something, the status of the action. You received here everything.
Okay.
A channel. Right? And what will do? Tell me what will do. What I'm missing here? This dot. Okay. And, so this is all whole thing. Okay. So can we just see a quick demo now? Then we can wind up. First, I created this file, right? So let me create this file now. Publish component. Okay. And then now HTML. Okay, and right. Okay, and okay, deploy, right? And have we done everything here? Message context, okay, wired and message channel result, right? And I also put some console log here. I will implement as part of app page, okay? Which component? There's two components. Yeah, there are two components, okay? Now, here, activate, activate as part of Let me see example, right? Hello for activate for all users. Okay. LMS inspect, because we are checking in the console log, right? Get it? Okay. Publish. I should have received. If it is not, then there is some issue. We need to debug. Okay. I will see. Somewhere I missed it. Publish. Yeah. One click. Single click. Publish method. Till here we are good. Working, right? It's working now. Publish method received. We display the object. See, it's working. So how we can uh, uh, you know publish component? I am declaring one property. Must be something. Okay. There I'm going to receive this. You get my point? What I'm doing now? This dot equal to, what is the name? What is the name of the parameter? Record ID, isn't it? Because this is going to receive the parameter sent by this, right? So what is the parameter name? Record ID. The same parameter name I'm referring. Rest dot record ID. Is that right? We pass result to this, then result dot record ID, the parameter name I'm going to display. You get it? What I'm saying, talking about now, all of you. The test message should appear now. Correct? Inside callback, connected callback has run because the component is completed initialization, then connected callback will run. See the message. If you unclick off it, the subscription callback function will run, which means this part. Okay, right. You get it? It's working, right? So we try this and just leave this as it is because everything is copied. Anything more, you try. How to assign to the property that you declare, and you do this exercise better. What was the last exercise I given? 20, right?
Yes, 20. Ranjit, I have a call right now.
You can leave. I just drop the exercise and you sign off.
Sure. Please upload the document as well. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Ranjit, I have a call. I'm just moving out. Okay.
I'll share this folder, file.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. First you try this. Okay, well.